Hello, everyone, and welcome to SCORE Fairfield County's live webinar on using QuickBooks Online to manage and grow your business. I'm Bob Hogan, the webinar coordinator today and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. I'll be your host, and our presenter is Caren Schwartz. More on Caren in just a minute, but first some brief information on SCORE. Caren, if I could ask you just to advance the slide, please. SCORE is a nonprofit national partner of the SBA with over 10,000 volunteers across the country. And locally here at SCORE Fairfield County, we have over 100 volunteers with a wide range of industry process and subject matter expertise. And we offer three primary value-added services to small business owners. First of all, we offer one-on-one business mentoring, and that is free, and you can access it using the yellow bit.ly link that you see on the screen. And you can do it by face-to-face meetings or video or phone or email, whatever works best for you. Secondly, we offer a wide range of business education programs like the one today, about 100 throughout the year. And lastly, we offer extensive resources on our website, including tools and information. Our next live webinar will be next Tuesday, June the 6th at noon. And the topic is how to develop a business plan in 6 easy steps with John Harmon presenting. You can find more specifics on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. We also have a large number of recorded webinars on our website that cover a wide range of business topics, and those can be viewed at any time by clicking on on-demand webinars. Just some logistics about today's event. We have set aside time for Q&A at the end of the presentation, and Caren will take those at the end. And if you have a question, you can type it in at any time using the Q&A button, which is likely at the bottom of your screen. Our webinar will end promptly at 1 o'clock to respect your time. This session is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be available on our website within the next day or so. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Caren Schwartz. Caren is a senior product consultant at 3545 Consulting, a global consulting firm specializing in solutions for the legal industry. And prior to joining 345 Consulting, Caren founded Time & Sense Consultants. Caren has been serving the technology needs of the legal industry for over 30 years. Her key focus is on back office services, analytics, and best practices for law firms. Caren is the author of QuickBooks for law firms, and she's a frequent speaker on integrating QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online with legal time and billing products. I'll now turn it over to Caren. Caren, it's all yours.
Thank you for the, thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it. I am going to turn off my camera because I find my system works a little bit better sometimes that way. So give me 1 second to just, find that button. Nope, that's not it. Okay, well, I'm having trouble finding the button to turn it off, so I guess I'll just leave it on.
Caren, I've put it off for you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so basically, yes, I specialize in working with law firms, but I do know QuickBooks very, very well. I have been working with it for over 30 years and have been certified on it since there was a Pro Advisor program 25 years ago. Come on. Okay. Small businesses have the odds stacked against them. These statistics may be a little bit old, but they are still fairly true. The percentages may have changed slightly, especially with COVID and depending on type of business, but the concepts are the same. There's an enormous failure rate in small businesses. If you work with accounting professionals and follow their advice, you increase your chances of success because you are looking at and analyzing your numbers and you know what's happening and can react quickly. You don't want to wait until the end of the year to realize that there's a problem like too much inventory or you're selling at prices that are leading you to a loss or anything along those lines. So working with someone who can help you understand your numbers on an ongoing basis, unless you really understand your numbers on your own, is really important. Now, in order to work with your numbers, you have to have good numbers. And an accounting professional or you yourself in reviewing your numbers have to know that the information is accurate and it has to be available in a timely manner. Again, if you're putting everything into a shoebox and you don't look at it until the end of the year, that's way too late to be looking at information and figuring out, because you can't make changes quickly enough at that point. So QuickBooks is probably the most popular program for keeping track of your financial information and analyzing your business. And QuickBooks comes in two flavors, QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online. Now, there are other programs that you can use. You may have heard of programs like Xero or Wave or other programs, and there's nothing wrong with using those. Whatever program is best for your business. It's just that QuickBooks is probably the most well-known and supported by the most accountants. And so that's why we're focusing on this one. But the concepts are going to be exactly the same, regardless of what program you choose to use. We're going to talk a little bit about QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online and how those can benefit you and how to choose what's the right one for you. And then we're going to actually go in and look at QuickBooks Online a little bit. So what is the difference between QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online? Well, they both come from the same company, Intuit. However, they are different programs. And while you can switch from one to the other, it's not something you want to go back and forth on a regular basis. It's something you would do kind of on a one-time basis. You need to understand the features to determine which is right for you. They both are good programs. They both have a lot of features and functionality, but they are different. If you look at QuickBooks Desktop and decide that it is the right solution for you, but you want anywhere, anytime access, you might want to consider hosted desktop. And there are a variety of ways to do that, but it would give you the benefit of QuickBooks Online's anytime, anywhere access with the feature set of QuickBooks Desktop. The desktop is especially useful to firms that are larger and need the QuickBooks Enterprise version. There's inventory management capabilities in desktop that don't exist in QuickBooks Online. But just because the QuickBooks Online does not have features built into it that you need doesn't mean it's not necessarily the right solution for you. You should look at application add-ons that may make the program work well for you. An accountant or a QuickBooks Pro advisor who understands your industry can help with choosing the add-ons and help you in choosing whether QuickBooks Desktop or Online would work well for your firm. So what are some of the benefits of going with QuickBooks Online? Well, it's cloud-based, which means it's anywhere, anytime access. It's got no server or network for you to maintain as long as you can connect into the internet from anywhere you might be, you will be able to use it. You do not have to worry about doing updates to it. You do not have to worry about doing backups. Now that is a plus and a minus. The plus is you don't have to take the time to do those and the backups are made. The minus is if they change something in the way the program works, you don't have a choice but to accept it. You can't say, oh, I'm going to stay on this service release. It's automatically updated. And the backups are not generally backups for your convenience. They are backups to restore if there is a general QuickBooks Online problem. So for example, if you have an employee who goes in and makes a mess of your books and you want to go back to 2 days ago, you cannot really do that with the QuickBooks Online built-in backup. But if the entire QuickBooks infrastructure, something was to happen to certain clients' databases that they would be able to recover. Now, there are apps that allow you to do backups that can be restored at your convenience. It's just something you need to be aware of and take into consideration. And that is true. Both of these are true of all online programs. There is a mobile app for QuickBooks Online for the iPhone and the Android so that you can log in from your device, like your phone or your tablet. Now, you could log directly in by going to the cloud, but the mobile apps are formatted to fit well on the screen, whereas just going out to an internet website on a mobile phone with a little bit smaller screen might be less than ideal. Generally, it is operating system agnostic and device agnostic. So if you have a computer that runs Windows and another computer that runs a Mac, or that is a Mac running iOS, doesn't matter because you're just logging into the cloud. And it is very secure, probably more secure than anything that you put on your computer in your office. So from that point of view, it's a really big benefit. There are also benefits in terms of workflow. So you can have document management integrated in. You can store your receipts and your copies of your credit card receipts and invoices that are received from vendors can all be stored within the system. As I mentioned before, there are a number of apps, and there is a huge ecosystem of apps that integrate in with QBO. Some of them very seamlessly, some of them not quite so seamless. So you want to look at the apps, evaluate them, and pick out the one that's right for you, and then look at, but also as part of that evaluation, make sure that the way it integrates works with your workflow. You do have less data entry because, for example, with QBO on your phone, you can take a picture of a receipt, upload it into QBO, and it will automatically fill in the information. It extracts it from the receipt, you verify it, and it categorizes it. You can also pull in information from your bank account or your credit card account and have it categorize automatically according to rules that you set up. Of course, you always have the ability to override those rules on specific transactions. If you are using QuickBooks Desktop and you want your accountant to see the information and they don't have ability to access your books on your computer, you have to give them an accountant copy, which has issues. For example, you're limited in what you can change while the accountant has their copy out. And then you're held up in possibly doing certain things until you get the data back. With QuickBooks Online, you can actually authorize your accountant to log into your company, and they can do the work they need, saving you time and energy. And of course, the new features, everything gets updated automatically, so you don't have to worry about going and installing upgrades on a bunch of computers or on your server in order to get the new features. However, if you don't like the new features, you like the old way better, you're kind of stuck. So that last one's mostly a good thing, but occasionally it can be annoying. There are 4 different levels of QuickBooks Online, and I'm not going to give you pricing here because the prices change and there's different promotions going on. But if you are interested in purchasing QBO, you can go out to the website I've listed here, or you can reach out to someone who is a QuickBooks Pro advisor or a QuickBooks reseller, and they can often get you a little bit lower price or a longer period at a discounted price. For example, on the website, you might see 3 months at 50% off, and a pro advisor might be able to get you 6 months at 50% off or something like that. So it's worth talking to a pro advisor They can also help you understand which version is the right one for you. You can always increase your version. You also can go backwards, although that's a little trickier to do. But it's easier if you start on the right level, because also if you change levels during your discount period, you actually will lose your discount and go immediately to the higher full price. So the 4 levels are Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, and Advanced. Now, there is also a separate one that you will hear referred to, which is QuickBooks Online Accountant Edition. So you may hear the term QBOA for QuickBooks Online Advanced. Some people may also use that to refer to QuickBooks Online Accountants Edition. The Accountants Edition is different. It is designed for accountants so that they can log into their clients' set of books with authorization, and it allows them to share appropriate access in a controlled manner within the firm. So you don't have to give access to 5 different people in a single firm. You only give access to your accountant, and then your accountant can control who within their firm has access to different sets of books appropriately. So Simple Start lets you track income and expenses, create invoices and accept payments, does all of your basic functionality. It does not allow accounts payable. So you can write checks, but you can't enter a vendor bill to be paid later. And it does have a capability to connect to a single sales channel, like Amazon, Shopify, or eBay stores, if you are running an online store. QBO Essentials will have everything that Simple Start does, plus it offers accounts payable, the ability to enter your time. Simple Start only has 1 user. QBO Essentials actually allows for 3 users plus accountant users. Simple Start is 1 user plus accountant user. And with QBO Essentials, you could actually connect 3 sales channels. QBO Plus is going to have everything that the lower versions have, plus it does have inventory capability. Inventory capability is not as sophisticated as some firms may need. So if the inventory is not meet your needs, you can look at add-ons in order to meet your firm's needs. You can also run project profitability reports within QBO Plus, where you can see how specific projects are performing, as opposed to how the firm as a whole. So a firm like a contractor who does building of houses, or does projects specifically renovating a room or things like that, may want to be able to track how profitable each specific project is, and that can be done in the QBO Plus version. And it includes 5 users. You can add additional users on these, but it includes 5 plus the accountant user. And then QBO Advanced is the most sophisticated version. Now, also be aware that Simple Start, Essentials, and Plus have some restrictions on the maximum number of customers and vendors and the maximum size of your chart of accounts. With QBO Advanced, those restrictions are removed. So that may be another reason why you have to go to QuickBooks Online Advanced. But it does include business analytics integrated into Excel. It does give you the ability to have your employees enter expenses and have those expenses pulled in and tracked. Now, some of these things can be done with, for example, Plus using add-ons. So it is a trade-off to determine which version is the best for your firm. QBO Advanced also lets you set up batch invoices and expenses. and customize access. So in QBO Plus, for example, you can kind of say, well, this person can get in and do X and this person can get in and do Y, but you don't have really sophisticated roles. There's kind of set roles that you can allocate. With QBO Advanced, you can set very specific permission levels for different types of people in the firm. You have premium, some apps are included. For example, a backup service is included in QBO Advanced. You do get a dedicated account team and on-demand online training because you are paying more money, and so they are giving you more services. There is some workflow automation that can be done, and they also have a data restoration if you have an issue. So which QuickBooks Online would be right for different types of businesses? Well, a very simple example is a person who sells cosmetics at a house party. They just need to keep track of income and expenses. They don't carry any inventory. They order the product and have it delivered right to the client or delivered to them, and then they deliver it, but they don't stock things. They only have one user, and they pay their expenses pretty much via credit card, so they don't have accounts payable. So what would be the right solution for this type of firm? Well, that firm could work with QBO Simple Start. Now, they might decide they want a higher level version because they want some additional features or functionality or more users, but QuickBooks Simple Start will meet the needs as described. A little bit more sophisticated firm, perhaps a dental practice that does their billing through third-party software, because QuickBooks Online is not HIPAA compliant. So a doctor's office would not want their billing information in QuickBooks Online for HIPAA regulations. But they just track all their billing somewhere else, and they only record revenue using a single customer name. They pay their bills by check, but they need access for the doctor, the office manager, and the bookkeeper, as well as their CPA. Well, that's 3 users plus the other features. So this person or this firm would want to look at QBO Essentials. In our next example, we might be looking at an interior design firm that has billable expenses. That is, they incur expenses to buy things on behalf of specific clients, and they want to bill the client for those expenses. They might also have inventory, and maybe they want to track revenue based on the designer so they can see how different people in the firm are performing. And they also want to do budgets, and they want to track time to make sure people are working the number of hours they're supposed to be. Well, that firm would want QBO Plus. So that's a little bit of some information that may give you a sense of what version might be right for your business. You can test drive QuickBooks Online by going to qbo.intuit.com/reader/test drive. Or if you don't have that link handy, you can just Google or Bing search for QBO test drive, and you will get taken to the website where you can log in. It is a sample company that you can log into, and you can do whatever you want as test transactions. Once you leave, the company is reset, so nothing you put in there is saved. It's always reset back to the exact same way. But it is a nice way to go in and test what would happen if I do this, or will this work for me in XYZ scenario? And even after you make a decision and purchase QBO, if you want to if you have a transaction that you want to do and you're not sure how it's going to impact the books and you want to kind of play around with it and test it, you can go out to the test drive and try putting the transaction in and seeing if you're getting the results that you want. So to sign in to QBO, you would go to app.qbo.intuit.com and you sign in, or if you do not already have an account, you would hit create an account. And I'm not going to actually physically log in and show you setting up a brand new company because that just gets a little bit messy, but I'm going to show you some screenshots. And then we will go in and take a look at QBO in the test drive environment as a sample company and some of the transactions we might want to do. So when you go into setup, and if you go into setup and it doesn't look like this, it's because they've changed the setup process and it's hard for me to keep up to date with the changes, but the concepts will be the same. You will be asked to put in, excuse me, you'll be asked to put in your company name and perhaps how long you've been in business and whether you are converting from QuickBooks Desktop or you are coming in, setting up a brand new company. If you are coming from QuickBooks Desktop, they do have a service that will help you directly. You might also want to use a QuickBooks Pro Advisor because they can help you to make sure that some preliminary work is done and to help compare the information afterwards and make sure that everything converts correctly. Because when machines or people do conversions, things don't always convert exactly perfectly. And so there's some things that you may want to look at and an advisor can help you. And within QuickBooks Online, or if you just search for QuickBooks Pro Advisor, and Pro Advisor is all one word, you will get you will get a link where you can put in your zip code and search for someone who may be able to work with you. If you do that, please read their description carefully to help save yourself time. It lets you send them a message, but you want to look for people that have the skills that you want. For example, if you're looking for an accountant, or if you're looking for someone that services a particular industry. If you have a retail business, you would not want to contact me because I don't work with retail firms, and you'd just be wasting your time in finding the right fit. Once you put in your basic information, it's going to ask you a few questions. So it's going to try to recommend a version to you. And it's also going to ask you, so it's going to ask you a bunch of questions about what you want to do so that it can try to recommend the right version to you. And then it's going to take you in and help you get your basic setup done. When you first come in, you're generally on your dashboard where you have your get things done. And once you have set up and you will have your bank accounts available. Whoops, sorry. You will have your bank accounts available and be able to look at your information and connect. And we'll be looking at some of this in just a moment in a real database. And then you also have the business overview. Once you have put information in, you will be able to go to the business overview and see how your business is performing. There are a couple of ways to navigate within QBO. Up in the top right, you're going to see a gear icon. That takes you to your lists, some of your setups for your firm, and other areas that are broader in nature, I would say. There are two ways of viewing the data. There is the business view and there is the accountant view. The business view is a little bit simplified view. It's designed to help a business get to the things that they need more quickly. I tend to work in the accountant view because I know it better. I've been using it for longer, but the business view is very nice and works well, and you can switch by just clicking on the gear icon and choosing which view you want. The My Experts will also take you out to to help find a pro advisor. The help takes you to the QuickBooks Online help and also allows you to request help directly from Intuit. The magnifying glass is a search, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And then the bell is an alarm that will show you specific things that Intuit feels you need to be made aware of. And if you just click on it when there's a number on it, it will open up and show you what's there. When you go into the search, the big thing that I want to point out is most people kind of don't notice. I almost always go immediately into the advanced search because I find it easier to find specifically what I want. But you can just start typing and see if you come up with what you want. And if you don't, then go into the advanced search to try to narrow your focus down more specifically. There will also be a left bar for navigation. And at the top of the left bar is the new button. The new button allows you to go to all of the different types of new transactions that you might want to use. They are grouped: customers, vendors, employees, and other. Employees is really valuable if you are using the QuickBooks Online payroll, and there are some different QuickBooks Online payroll options. You can talk to Intuit or to a pro advisor to help you identify the right one. There are also third-party payroll processors that have different degrees of integration into QuickBooks Online, so you're not limited, but QuickBooks Online is the one that is most closely integrated in. You can also go out from the program or by going directly to this website at the top to look at the various apps that are available. There will be some at the top that are kind of the highlighted, and then some free ones that are built in to the that are built by QuickBooks and they would like you to be aware of. But you can also narrow your search by starting to type or by browsing different categories of information. There is training and support available both from within Intuit and through the Find an Accountant link or the Find a Pro Advisor link. You also will find a number of people out on YouTube who have created websites and have posted various learnings. Some of them have a fee attached. Some of them you can pay a fee to have access for a specific amount of time. There are free ones as well. The quality does vary. I know a number of people who have done some that I think are very good, but it really depends on your needs. For accountants, there is also a QuickBooks Online accountant test drive company. I'm going to just touch really quickly on the features of QuickBooks Online Accountant and how you access that. And then we'll do a brief demo. So QuickBooks Online Accountant, as I mentioned earlier, offers the ability to access clients' files, gives you features for managing your practice and your own firm's books. It is free to accountant users. And clients can invite you in at no extra charge. And there are some special tools for the accountants, as well as some special learning. And if you get certified, then you can be in the Find a Pro Advisor website. And the training to get certified is offered both as recorded webinars, sometimes live webinars, and some training materials within QBO, and then you have to take an exam. You basically decide the ID you want for your firm, sign up, and then you give your clients the ID email address in order to have them invite you to access their company. And if you are set up as QBO accountant, you can invite your staff as users internally and set up their permissions. Accountants can also set up their clients and actually bill their clients directly. So if you want to, if you're doing all the work for your client and you want to package the price of the QBO subscription in with the work you're doing, you can do that as well. And you log in by going to QBOintuit.com, and then you choose the firm you log in, and you may see several different options, but you just select which firm you want to open once you're in. So now let me pull over QBO. So I am logged into the sample company, and I'm going to assume that you are seeing no longer seeing the PowerPoint, but are seeing the QuickBooks Online demo system. So this is where you would end up if you tried to do the test drive. That's what I'm logged into, and it is Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. And up here on the top right, you can see the various icons that I mentioned, as well as this one, which is where you would go to sign out or to change any of the settings regarding your account if you are in your real company file. You can see the gear icon with the various areas. Accounts and settings is where you would go to see your specific firm settings and any changes you might need to do. It will also show you your usage and how you are doing against the limitations of the specific version that you are using. So if you need to upgrade, there are specific customizations that you can do. Some of these will not exist in certain levels. For example, in Simple Start, you won't see many of these because they are not features of the program. But anytime you are in any of those, you can edit the section and then turn on or off or do whatever changes you need, and then you save that section. Back. I mentioned that when you come in, you are generally going to be on your dashboard. You can see that here, and on the far left, you are seeing the different menu options along with the new. Now I am in the account view. I'm going to switch over to the business view just so you can see how that looks. And you will notice that it is significantly different, but you do have the ability to add bookmarks for different functionality. So if there are certain things that you would like to be able to see, but you want to use the business view, you have the ability to choose which things should be bookmarks. And then when you save that, they will appear down here, and you can quickly and easily navigate to those areas on your own. So right now, I am on my get things done. This is shortcuts to the various areas when you are in your business view. And I can just click on any of these and it will take me directly to that area of my program. So if I wanted to manage my customers, I can just click on Manage Customers, and it is going to automatically take me to the customer area of the program. You notice it collapsed my left-hand menu and gave me a right-hand menu, or an additional menu that was tied to my customer areas. And from here, I can see all of my customers. I could add a new customer by clicking on the new customer button and filling in the appropriate fields. The only thing that is required is any field that has a star or an asterisk after it. Those are our custom field. Those are our required fields, sorry. But if you scroll down, you will notice a number of other fields of information that can be filled in. To edit a customer, you would just click on their name, and then you have your edit button at the top, which is going to open up the screen that we were looking at that had the name and contact, but would let us make changes to it. You can also see all of the transactions that are associated with the client and could actually drill down on any of those transactions or take various batch actions based on checking things off. Now, this is one of the higher levels because, and I can tell that because we have things like estimates and invoices. If I go back over and I go to my business overview, I am going to see that screen I showed you a picture of earlier where we have various graphs about our business that we can use. On some of them, you will have the ability to change something like the range or what you are seeing, money in and out versus cash balance. So always look in the upper right to see what can be customized. And then you have all of your bank accounts. Linking your bank accounts is very, very powerful. I personally like to enter my transactions myself when I can, because it gives me more control and it gives me the ability to remember exactly what it was. If I am not checking in here on a regular basis and downloading and matching, and I wait, a week or a month, I may not remember what an expense was or a receipt, and the bank information is not always crystal clear. But the download is a very nice way of getting the transactions in that you may have missed or facilitating your bank reconciliation. And I will just mention that you should be doing your bank reconciliations in a very timely manner, at least once a month when you get your statement, because banks do make mistakes. I could tell you lots of stories, but they do make mistakes, as do credit card companies. And if you don't catch them in a timely basis, then you don't have recourse back to the bank. And more times than not, the mistake is in the bank's favor, not your favor. So it's important to do that in a timely manner. You also can access all of the report area here, and there are lots and lots of reports within QBO. You can also create customized reports using the data in the program. If you know what report you are looking for, you can just come up here and start typing, and it will help you narrow down the list. But the list is also organized in terms of various categories of reports, and you can favorite any that you use on a regular basis by clicking on it and making it have a star, and then it's going to show up at the top in the favorites area. So that's a fairly high level overview of QuickBooks Online and talking about what you might want to use it for. The reports are really the power, but the reports are only going to be as good as the data that you put in. I'll take some questions, and then if we have some time, I can show you a few other things, but I do want to make sure that I get all of the questions answered.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Caren. We're going to use the remaining time for Q&A, as Caren mentioned, and we'll take as many as we can up until the top of the hour. So again, if you would like to submit a question, please use the Q&A button in the lower portion of your screen.
Okay.
And so
I do see a couple of questions in the chat. I don't know if you want me to address those.
I'll catch those as
Okay.
well, but if people could use the Q&A, that'd be great.
Okay, perfect.
We'll start with the first one from Lisa Caren, and I think you've actually maybe covered this a little bit later as you went along. And her question is, how do you identify a QuickBooks Pro advisor?
Okay, the easiest way is with the website that I put up in the link, or you can just search for QBO Pro Advisor. Let's see. And right here is a link for Find a Pro Advisor. So it's Find an Accountant. The link is in the presentation. So when you get the recording, it will be in there. But you come to this website, you put in your zip code, and that is going to help you to find a pro advisor. You can choose the services that you want. So if I wanted to narrow the list down, I could. You can choose the industry that you want or the products that they support, because you can use this not only for QuickBooks Online, but for payroll, for QuickBooks Desktop, or for TurboTax, which is also owned by Intuit. And then you will see the various people, look at the information. They usually have a little description. And then if you want to contact them, click on the little envelope and send them a question, and or send them a request for more information, and they will get back in touch with you.
Okay, that's great. Here's one from Elizabeth. I'm a virtual assistant and have considered setting up QuickBooks Online so that I can strengthen my own skills to utilize it with clients, but also for my own business. I generally just track my financial information on spreadsheets for my accountant. What would be the benefit of paying for QuickBooks Online versus her spreadsheet approach?
Yep. So I think the benefit of QuickBooks Online over a spreadsheet is you can do analysis more quickly. In a spreadsheet, it's kind of hard to quickly come up with a profit and loss, or quickly come up with a balance sheet, or see trends. With QuickBooks Online, you can run those kinds of reports, or even just go to your business overview and see those trends and see how you are doing. And of course, getting better at QBO would allow you to offer additional support and assistance to your clients in an effective manner.
Agreed. That maybe is a good lead into Sonia had a question during your presentation. What does the reporting look like? Does it create an income statement, a balance sheet? Perhaps maybe you could just pull one of those
Sure.
the sample reports so we can see.
Yep. So let me go into our reports area, and you'll actually see I've got the balance sheet as one of my favorites and the profit and loss. I will just run each of those. So if I pull it up, there's my balance sheet, automatically generated based on information I've put in. Up at the top, I can customize my period. I can also choose columns or a comparison against a prior period if I would like. And once I make any changes, I want to hit my run report. I can also come in and hit my customize and make various changes. If I have made a bunch of changes and I want to save that version, like perhaps I have turned on my previous year and dollar and percent, and I want to be able to come back in and run this very quickly and easily, I would want to click on my Save Customization, give it a name. I can create a group and save it in the group so that I have them all grouped together in various ways. I can also share it with other members of my firm. And then when I save, now when I go back to my report list, that report will be under my custom reports for me to run. So if I want to make a lot of customizations, I don't have to do them over and over again. I can just save them. Just to show you what the profit and loss looks like, I will pull that up as well. And there's an example of a profit and loss statement. And again, I have those same customization options and the customize. Of course, the customized screen is going to look a little different for different types of reports. Also, these reports can be drilled down on. So if I put my mouse over one of the numbers, you notice it highlights in blue. And if I click on it, it's going to actually drill down and show me the transactions that make up that.
That's great.
So very powerful reporting.
Yeah, and I think that's also builds on the response to the last question on what's the advantage of using QuickBooks versus a spreadsheet. So
exactly.
We'll go to one now from Abigail. If I already have an accountant advanced account, would I be able to use this account for my clients' bookkeeping needs if they don't have an accounting or ERP system along with my consulting business bookkeeping? Considering I would have separate companies set up under my QuickBooks account.
You would have to set up completely separate QuickBooks Online companies and you can either set them up for the client or the client can set them up and invite you in, but there would be a charge for those additional companies. If you are using the QuickBooks Online accountant, you can take advantage of the wholesale billing where you get billed and then you bill your client for the software as part of the services that you are rendering to them if you would like. But so yes, you can set them up, but they are separate companies with separate charges and they can all be different versions. So you could have one client that's on Simple Start and another client that is on Pro.
And Caren, I'm assuming there would be a cost advantage because with an accountant version, you would get a better option than if each company purchased it itself.
The wholesale pricing does have some discounts built in because you are being billed and they're not billing a bunch of individual clients. So they do give you a little bit of a discount, which you can pass on to your clients.
Okay. Next one is from Wanda. Which QuickBooks Online version would be best for personal use?
I hate to say it, but my answer is probably none. It depends on what your personal use needs are. Most personal use don't need a profit and loss and a balance sheet, but they might be tracking investments or mortgages and things like that. And in that case, QBO is really not the best solution. You might want to look at something like Quicken, which is its own independent product. It used to be owned by Intuit, but it is no longer. And, so it's kind of hard for me to say because I don't think QBO in general is the best choice for an individual unless you are running a business and trying to track both a business and your personal in there. So then I would probably look at Essentials or Pro and use the class feature to separate out the personal from the business.
Yeah, that's great. I would endorse that as well too, Caren, that if it's just strictly for personal use and there's no business element, generally something like Quicken would work better. So here's one from follow-up from Lisa. Which version of QBO would you recommend for a startup importing and distribution food business?
So if you're doing importing and distribution, your needs are probably going to be a little more complex and you may have inventory needs and things like that, which would lead you to want to be on either Pro or Advanced, depending on the volume and some of the reporting that you want. You could possibly look at Essentials with an add-on. But it would really depend on the specifics of what you are going to be doing and what kinds of information you need to track. But at a minimum, it would be Essentials, probably with an add-on or Pro.
Okay, very, very helpful. Here's one from Derek. Would you explain the characteristics of different desktop QB options?
Yeah. So there are basically 3 QuickBooks desktop options. There's Pro, Premier, and Enterprise. Pro and Premier are basically the same thing, except Premier has a few extra features and lets you have 5 logins for up to 5 licenses, whereas QuickBooks Desktop Pro only allows a maximum of 3. QuickBooks Pro is really being phased out by Intuit. You can only buy it through a pro advisor or a reseller, and the resellers are not allowed to show QuickBooks Pro on their website, so you have to talk to them to get the prices. And by the way, I am not a QuickBooks reseller, but I do have a relationship with one. So if somebody's looking to buy Pro, any QuickBooks Desktop or online, let me know, and I'd be happy to refer you over to a reseller who can help you get the best pricing. But Pro and Premier are basically more limited. Enterprise has a lot larger capability, has customization in terms of roles and permissions, and has a lot more, has a larger capacity in terms of the number of customers and vendors and the size of your chart of accounts. It has a lot more capability when it comes to inventory and additional functionality. And really, we are seeing most of the development effort on the QuickBooks desktop side, so new features and functionality, are primarily going into QuickBooks Enterprise. They're really trying to encourage people that have lower level needs to go into QuickBooks Online. And QuickBooks Desktop, all of the versions are subscription, so you do have to renew every year. If you do not renew, your database becomes read-only for a period of time, and then you lose access. With QuickBooks Online, if you stop paying, you do lose access immediately, so download everything you need into reports. But the data is preserved for a year, so if within a 12-month period, you decide you need to get back in, you can reactivate, pay the monthly cost, and get right back in with all your data. After a year, your data is no longer accessible.
Great advice. Here's the one from Sonia. We have 9 different departments, and can QuickBooks create different departments at the same time that are able to run reports that consolidate them all and able to run reports?
Yeah, so depending on the types of departments, in Advanced and in Pro, there are features called location and class that can be used for departments. Which one is right for you, or a combination of the two, is going to depend on the nature of your business and the types of reporting that you need. But you would want to be looking at location or class as the way of accomplishing that.
Okay. One last one here from Wade. Once I purchase QuickBooks, is there an assessment to identify my skill level?
No, there's not really an assessment, but there are so in the trainings, there are some some of the trainings that are available do have information where you can learn about the product and then do tests, and the tests would help you with assessing your skill level.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have questions for today. As a reminder, the webinar has been recorded and will be available online within the next day or so on our website. And it'll be under on-demand webinars. If you want to attend our next live webinar, it's next Tuesday, June the 6th at noon. And the topic is how to develop a business plan in 6 easy steps, with John Harmon presenting. Again, more specifics on our website. And again, if you'd like to take advantage of that free individual counseling, you can use that yellow bit.ly link on the screen, or you can just go to our website and click on the Request a Mentor button. And if I could ask you to please fill out your evaluations that are being sent at the end of the webinar, it would be very helpful to us going forward. And on behalf of SCORE, thank you all for attending today's live webinar. And in closing, special thank you to Caren for presenting today. Lots of great information there, and enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Thanks for attending. Thanks,
Bye,
Caren.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.